hell is that supposed to mean? Just what I said. You can't enter the crime scene until you pass our security clearances. You've got to be... You're a drug-pushing lowlife. Why would I need your permission to go anywhere? I take offense to that. I've never worked in pharma. Han, not the time to be a smartass. Reyes, it'll only take 30 seconds. You're serious? This is reality? The city's expecting blue bloods to keep a crime scene secure? They're the ones committing the goddamn crimes. Hey, if that's your criteria, half the police force should be disqualified. Or is excessive force not a real crime? Are battered spouses not real victims? Because assault's only assault when it's a real person on the receiving end. Science is legitimate, Reyes. All the paperwork's in order and signed by our bosses. These idiots are walking around barehanded and knocking shit over and leaving trash all over the goddamn place. Should we give the badges while we're at it? Let them investigate crimes too? We already investigate crimes. Do you have any idea how many missing teens there are in the lower wards? No, because we find them, because we actually give a shit about the people who live down here. Oh, and I'm sure your prices are very generous. Better their parents get a bill from us than a letter of condolences from you. So sorry, man, but he looked suspicious as he was running away. Not helping. Reyes, let's calm down. Sorry that I'm not calm when we've got actual orcas stomping all over the scene where a cop was murdered. Last I counted, there were 5 bodies upstairs. Are both your eyes broken? Or do you just not recognize anyone without a badge as human? Perhaps we've come at a bad time. Nothing for it. Gotta strike while the iron's hot. The iron seems very hot in this instance, Adonai. Sorry to interrupt, folks. Don't mind me, I'll just go take another look upstairs. Now you, hey, why not? You nearly died once already today, why not let these orcas give you the tour? Was that you giving me permission? No! You and London should both be at a goddamn hospital or whatever, getting debris. She doesn't need your permission. She has mine. Ma'am, you can go right ahead upstairs. Talk over me again and I'll break your finger. Is that ad recording right now? That sounds like a threat. You want to hear a threat? I'll... Clearly. This isn't gonna work. So, Han, why don't you head upstairs and wait for Morgan? I don't take orders from you. Who do you take orders from? Want me to give them a call? Let them know you're going around kicking hornets' nests and scratching your head over why everyone's getting stung? Whatever. You think you could just walk away after the shit you said? Turn around and take a walk, sunshine. Lenny, if you think for even one... I'm not kidding, Farah. Take a walk. Forget it. You all can go to hell for all I care. Oh, for... No, not you. For God's sake. Sorry about the bad timing. No, that was gonna blow up no matter what. Situations like this require compromise, and Reyes is... uncompromising. At least you're around to balance her out. You might be the most compromised cop I've ever met. That was not a very nice thing to say. And it shows that you haven't met that many cops. I'm surprised you're still welcome around here after what happened in the courtroom. Oh, Bresson? The Blue Bloods are a big organization, and Bresson was pretty firmly on the other side. Guys like Han who work in the gray areas might as well live in a different world. If you say so. I just didn't think the Mafia would allow the death of one of their own to go unanswered. When you sent him into a courtroom packed with police with a modded arm that only had one shot, I don't think they're surprised he didn't make it back. Will Detective Reyes be alright? She seemed angry. More so than usual. Yeah, she'll be alright. Blowing up, yelling, cursing, that's nothing. Practically healthy. It's the ones who go quiet you gotta worry about. What brings you back here, anyway? We're pursuing leads. Sounds serious. Anyone go digging into Chopin after my implications earlier today? Lady Rockford will probably take it seriously, if only to cross it off the list. But other than her, I think you mostly just piss people off. Lucky for you, I was able to convince some techs to confirm your soundproof windows theory, but don't expect to be welcome at City Hall anytime soon. Hadn't counted on it. Whatever else he's innocent of, Chopin did get here before anyone else, and no one knows how. Look, if he really did get some kind of coded message or secret text, there's no trace of it in any comm logs on his personal devices. And it didn't come from any of the tech we've examined on site. Have you found any secret passages on the premises? Afraid not, little lady. But maybe you'll have better luck than me. Secret passages? In what world? Was that your whole story back in the courtroom? You and Reyes happened to be in the area? If you don't want to take my word for it, Rails will tell you the same thing. It doesn't seem like she'd want to talk to Adonai at the moment. Can you tell me exactly what you two saw when you arrived? The 10999 went out around 10:15 p.m., telling us that Chopin's heart had stopped. So we dashed across the street to an elevator. We were descending at 10:17 p.m. when Rogers reported that he was dead. 10:21 p.m. we approached from the front of the building, saw the door ajar, lock blown in. Then Sunshine and I started clearing the first floor. You didn't hurry up to the third floor where the dead cop was? Like I testified, Chopin had flatlined and his own partner had confirmed it was no false alarm. We know we couldn't do anything for him. Rogers had already apprehended the suspect, so SOP is we focused on securing the area and clearing the premises. How level-headed. So the Officer Rogers we saw in court today really did take Sosuke out down all by himself? Yeah, charged in and pistol whipped him right on the head. I assume you found that the first floor was, in fact, clear? Yeah, all these vaults were empty. You didn't wait for Cyanus to show up with the spare keys? Surprised you didn't throw your back out kicking down doors. Sunshine helped. Besides, they weren't all locked. They weren't. Yeah, remember that? That one right there was unlocked. Room 107. Nothing inside there either, though. Guess the Blue Bloods missed a lock on a nightly roundup or something. Cyanus has unlocked every door in the building at this point. But when I first walked down this hall and when I first walked out the front door later, how did this hall look then? If you do manage to find some kind of silent alarm, I'll be impressed. If you prove that Chopin was dirty, I'll be floored. But even then, how the hell are you going to convince a jury that anyone other than Sosuke killed him? It'll be difficult without accounting for the 4 dead Blue Bloods as well. But if you take it all in as one set, it starts seeming plausible as internalish, don't you think? What are you? You want to push this as the young bloods and old guard going at it? Over what? The juicy bait that Chopin literally died over. Proposition 492. But what's there to disagree about? That project would put money in everyone's pockets. If my theory is correct and Chopin was killed because the Youngbloods didn't want the Old Guard abandoning them. The Old Guard have always hedged their bets on the Little Lord returning. Does that mean the Redding plans profit of Prop 492 were a Youngblood conspiracy? Those papers were tucked inside Creek's safe before I arrived. Well, good hunting. You won't be joining us? Not this time. I gotta go pump the brakes on Sunshine before she finds a bar. Try not to piss off the Blue Bloods with any more wild accusations while I'm gone. I would never. Take care. And that goes doubly for you, Sparky. What does Sparky mean, by the way? It's a nickname, because you're so bright. A nickname? But I guess people are always calling you ads whatever they like, huh? Sorry, should have asked first. What do you mean? I'll just call you Sarah. But it's my nickname. You gave it to me. You can't just take it back. Well, okay then, Sparky. What the hell? Did you hate Spearmint that much? I would never want to seem ungrateful. Seems like the smell's starting to fade. Barely even the memory of blood now that so many feet are trodden through here. Nothing lasts forever. Miss Hahn? What? No, I already called you this morning. No, they're not. No, they're not. You're being paranoid. Yes, I'm sure. Yes, I'll call you tonight. Bye. Didn't mean to interrupt another lover's quarrel. What? Oh, no, that was... Dementia meds aren't working. They get confused this time of day. Sorry. Get it, that's what I'm gonna do. Just gonna turn my phone off for a minute and forget. Cute android, by the way. So what's up? There's a couple ways of going about this, but none of them are surefire. Might as well start out big and see if there's anything to this theory. Do the Blue Bloods use silent alarms? Yeah, of course. Thank you for telling us. Sure. I'm actually going to need a bit more than that, Miss Han. It's just Han. Did Creek have a silent alarm? She's hesitating all of a sudden. Is she unsure of the answer, or did she just give her first answer without thinking about where it would lead? Nothing like that installed in the building. Arcs would have chewed it up and spat it out by now. The Arcs is not flawless. It can miss things. Look, you seen the level of tech we Blue Bloods have? It's secure, but it ain't subtle. True. An Orca-run security firm won't have quite as much luck hiding their subsystems from the police as David Osher did, Sarah. But the Arcs can miss things that aren't tech at all. A silent alarm that's analog. Huh. Let me know if you figured that one out. Either an alarm is analog and loud, or digital and silent. They don't mix. She's defensive, but her logic is sound. Pushing it from the other angle then. What could an analog silent alarm possibly function? A literal alarm, but one that can't be heard under normal circumstances. A horrible smell in here. Like a dog whistle. You once bragged to me about your sense of smell. I don't think I was bragging. Could have sworn you puffed out your chest at the time. Doesn't matter. If I asked you to sniff something out, could you find it? What would you like me to look for? I still don't have a clear picture of what happened after I left. But there's one thing I know should be here that hasn't turned up once yet. Right, I'm the only one who knows about the knife. While I don't know where it went, I do know it had plenty of blood on it when I last saw it. I want you to smell for blood. Adonai, do you really need me to help you find blood in here? I'm not asking you to sniff in here. I want you to smell out the window. I'll try. There are many strong smells in this part of the city, Adonai, but there is something truly unpleasant as well. Something beneath this fire escape. Okay. Now go fetch. You could ask nicely. Wait, Sarah. Yes? That's a very old, rusted fire escape. Take the stairs. You're too heavy. As you command, Adonai. Several minutes later, Sarah returned, looking worse for wear and seemingly in a bad mood. Did the weight comment bother her that much? Adonai, I do not like digging through trash. It is not a dignified way to investigate. Digging in people's trash is the basis of all good investigation. Easy for you to say when you aren't wearing all white. Did you find something? Yes. My knife, and it's charred. I found it amongst the ashes of a blackened steel drum below the fire escape. It seems to have been the site of a fire. That sounds familiar. Wasn't there a barrel burning in the alley when I first scoped the place out? There were signs of a chemical flame retardant being applied to the barrel. Police must have put the fire out when they first secured the scene. Meaning the knife wasn't in a fire all night, but still. There does indeed appear to be blood on this knife, Adonai. So how did both the police and scientists miss it? Their noses aren't as good as yours, evidently. That is true. But they have drones and dogs for this kind of thing. Yeah, but they have to actually use them. They'd have no reason to search the vicinity for a bloody knife if they found a sword sticking out of a corpse's midsection. Shall we ask the police to check for fingerprints? Fingerprints are mostly oil and sweat. Fire evaporates them both. Then, we have to test and see whose blood is on that knife. But DNA is damaged by heat as well. You know, before DNA analysis, blood had another forensic use. You mean blood typing? The DNA on the knife might be too damaged, but modern analytical tools should be able to at least identify blood typing. That could work, Adonai. Great! Ready to get started? Pardon? You're capable of recognizing my DNA, weren't you? When we first met? Yes, but... So why don't you try your hand at analyzing blood type? It's gotta be simpler, right? It might be, but Adonai, to analyze this blood on this knife, I would have to use my tongue. Pretend it's a lollipop or something. It's blood. Well done, blood. It'll taste like beef. You don't know what human blood tastes like? Of course I don't. Look, the fire sanitized it, probably. Just get it over with. I will reference this incident the next time we discuss raises, Adonai. Fine by me, because that's never happening. What have you got? There is blood from more than one person present. Mostly B-, I believe, with some AB- around the tip. Alright, now I can cross-reference that with the rest of the data I have. Thank you for the report, Sarah. You've given me a new lead to follow. Yes, Adonai. And you just made your first forensic contribution to an ongoing criminal investigation. How many androids can say that? Now come on, we've got some boxes to check. Is this evidence? It's a piece of crap some crime scene tech left behind. Nothing relevant about it. Yes, you're right. It's just displaying a news article they must have been reading. Apparently they've arrested the Heartbreak Killer. This copycat. Yes, the Heartbreak Killer's copycat, and it seems... Just let me skim it for myself. Seems like Heartbreak isn't going away no matter what happened to the original. So it would seem. Ankur Tan. Supposedly he was the first to die. Logically, he had to have been. He's the one who had the gun. If an attacker got it away from him, they must have done so first. Yes, I can see that the gun is registered to him. Right, registered. Who the hell would look at this guy with that gun and just nod him along? Patrol officers TC and HR 1 week ago. TC and HR, Tariq Chopin and Huey Rogers. The badge numbers match. It seems like they detained Ankur Tan briefly during a stop and frisk and found this gun on him. Finding a gun like this on anyone with priors during a stop and frisk. The very minimum that's grounds for 28 days detainment. Why'd they just let him go? Is it possible that he was a criminal informant? If he was a CI, they wouldn't have even logged the incident. Besides, patrol officers don't have their own CIs. Then perhaps they let him go for some other reason. Because they'd already gotten what they'd wanted from him? Make sure to copy the file of that stop and frisk report. Right away. So this is where they found Creek's body. He was the only one who didn't die instantly. If anyone had a chance to use a silent alarm. No, he must have been paralyzed in between the time he was shot and his actual expiration. They weren't paralyzed. What do you mean? If they had been paralyzed, Yumi would have noted that in her autopsy. That's true. But he just sat there limp this whole time, didn't even try to move. He was playing dead, letting me think he couldn't move so I wouldn't notice his... Was anything found in his hands? Anything at all? Doesn't seem like it. They weren't holding something by the time their body got to the morgue. If he had been holding something, but dropped it when he died, let me look. For what? Anything small enough to fit in the palm of your hand. Hang on, what's this? What was that? Did you just jump? I was merely surprised by that sound, hadn't I? What sound? I just brushed against this little toy thing. You can hear it? I can, and it is not exactly pleasant on the ears. Could any android hear it, or is this some special feature David gave you? I'd imagine any android, or robot, or electronic device with modern features could pick up this tone. Maybe I should have closed the window before I tested it anymore and stopped torturing all the dogs in the neighborhood. Closing the window would not matter. It's soundproof, though. But the specific frequency of this tone is not in your audible spectrum to begin with. Right. But do you really think Creep was toying with that nuisance maker in their final moments? Writing protocol, designed to make data difficult to physically redistribute. Couldn't anyone just take out their phone and snap a picture of the pages? It seems that some of the responding officers attempted to. The ARC shows that they failed. That's some fancy ink. What do you see when you look at the pages, then? No more detail than you do, I'm afraid. It's strange, isn't it? They went to such lengths to protect this information. And yet these papers were left out where Officer Chopin or anyone could read them. They weren't left there by Creek. I took the documents out of his safe so I could reach the mask. And I must have left them out on the desk afterwards. Our client, Sosuke, according to Rogers, this is how he found him. Thrusting the sword into Chopin. Or merely trying to retrieve it. Not a huge improvement there. He really was found in a terrible state, wasn't he? And that was before the police gave him his cop killer welcoming end. Sir, bring the medical files on Sosuke. I want to go after everything we know about how he looked when Rogers arrested him. What specifically? He was covered in blood, right? Were samples taken for analysis? The blood on his torso and head was all his own. He got some of Chopin's blood on him while he was face down, being cuffed by Officer Rogers. And he also had a great deal of Trey's blood in his feet and pant legs. How exactly was he injured? His left hand was broken. He had internal bleeding throughout his torso, bruising and rope burns on his wrists where he was bound, contusions all over the interior side of his body, and he also sustained a large, blunt-force trauma wound on the back of the head. His biggest wound was to the back of his head. I guess if you fell backwards to the ground. There was also a small cut on his left hand. How small? As if he cut himself in the kitchen. Wasn't expecting a metaphor there, but it's effective enough. Any other questions about our client's arrest, Adjutant? Not unless there are some crime scene photos you've been holding out on me. I'm afraid not. How is it that I am the only one who made an effort to preserve the crime scene? That about wraps it up in here. Miss Hahn, since Science is technically in charge of securing the crime scene, what should we do with this? Do with what? Adonai, please refrain from pressing that button any more than necessary. Sorry, Sarah, I can see you don't like it. But Miss Hahn's phone doesn't seem to like it either. It's just Hahn. And I don't know what you're talking about. I get messages all the time. Hahn, ma'am, if you could please just admit it so she stops pressing that. Fine, whatever. Yes, you found one of our alarms. Pretty clever system. Not really, it's just an app. You set the frequency and get a notif if the app picks it up. The range. Couple kilometers. Thanks for clearing that up. Well, I have you here, though. Exactly how fast did you show up to the scene of the crime? Pardon? This is a blue blood neighborhood. Do you really expect people to believe that cops lumbered their way here faster than any of you could? What exactly are you trying to say? Yeah, I'm tuned to frequency, but I'm tuned to a lot of frequencies. It's a good way of communicating without the megs or the pigs listening in. So you didn't get this alarm the night of the incident? Didn't even know it went off that night. You got proof it did? Can you explain how else Officer Chopin could have gotten here? Nah, not my job to either. Is it your job to come to a fellow Blue Blood's aid when they're desperately calling for help? I didn't know Creek like that. I didn't say Creek was the one who had this. I saw where you were poking around near the head of the pod, I assumed. Creek's a stranger to me, even though you're both young bloods. What? I'm guessing that's what the tattoo means. Neither of you make much effort to hide it. It is plainly visible, even in their autopsy photos. You have no idea what this ink means. Would you tell us what it means? Blood bag. What? The old guard use you as donors. Gangsters live a life of drugs, smoking, drinking, and back alley mods. Then end up with livers and kidneys that look like charred steak. Who could have guessed? Got no children because the Ikaria killed them all. Can't get on the donor list because they're geriatric, reviled crime lords. So what do? Hey kid, wanna be a gangster? Let me see if you got what it takes. Hold still while I prick your finger. I tattooed our torsos, even if you mod off all 4 limbs, you'll still pump clean plasma. Every drop an indicator of quality. I'm a universal donor, so I've got 3. AAA graded, just like meat. And Creek. Save it for the trial, lady. Are we done here, you think? Not quite. Emma's argument is that Sosuke didn't escape from here. He was brought out into the other room to be questioned, and then he broke free. I know that's not true. Sosuke would have been stuck here until the police arrived if I hadn't handed him the mag US to, well, frame him. And the knife, also to frame him. But secondarily, so that he could cut himself free from his bindings. Those bloody rags there? Remember what Sosuke told us when we first met? And he was bound in here the whole time until his bad Samaritan came along? We gave him a knife. Now we know what knife he was talking about. And now I want to know whose blood this is. The blood on the bindings? It would have to belong to Sosuke, wouldn't it? All the other bodily fluids in this room do? Probably. But I need to know. You've already done it once. What's one more time? One more time will surely make me sick. Please, Adonai, let us ask one of the science employees on standby to analyze it. They have a record for very fast turnaround in DNA tests, I promise. I can show you customer reviews. That's right, Science does DNA testing. Typically paternity tests as part of their private investigative services. But they have been assisting the police with DNA analysis around the scene. I will flag the bindings to be analyzed. Wait, I have already made the request, Adonai. If you insist on making me test the bindings myself now, you will only be upsetting my stomach to satisfy your own impatience. Fine. But I'm gonna cite this incident the next time we discuss arrays. Really is a shithole in here, though. I agree with your sentiment, if not your choice of words. Feels like a cruel place. What is it? Was there something we missed in here, Adonai? No, not in here. The windows. They were closed when Creek was shot. Still closed when Chopin and Rogers arrived on site. But they were open by the time Rogers got to this room. I used that contradiction to argue for the presence of a third party. Because someone must have opened them to go down the fire escape. And then what? They must have dropped down to the alley and ran away, right? Yeah, that's one option. What's the other? Would it kill them to do some sweeping around here? I guess that would be contaminating the crime scene at this point. Then what the hell do all these cops and science chumps actually do? Lean on walls and screw around on their phones? I think you're being a bit harsh in your assessment, but you aren't alone in your criticism. Detective Reyes had much to say about how science employees were not wearing gloves and knocking over trash. If they had picked up trash, that'd be removing evidence. The arcs would light up. Adding trash, then? Adonai, let me look through this. Garbage again, already? Just start looking. If any of it requires DNA analysis. Wait, there. Red. I don't smell any blood. Not blood. Ink. A torn page of the Reading documents. With what looks like a shoe print on it. Shall we try and match it to samples? Good luck. Cops and security types all wear the same kinds of boots. On top of which, 99 out of 100 shoes in the city are made with the same 2 megs. But if the print isn't useful, let's just use the actual text and that. Looks like the letters were all run through the wash a couple dozen too many times. Well, it isn't particularly informative, and I don't understand exactly how this clue fits in with everything else we've seen. But doesn't this seem important? How could it have been lying here, neglected this whole time? Nah, princess, I'll have to call you right back. Of course, wouldn't dream of it. Come on, you know me. What'd you find there? More dead men's garbage? Keep it up and you girls are gonna make me look bad. Happy to be of assistance. So would you like to add this to the arc, or should I? Well, seems like you've got momentum going, so please don't let me get in your way. You don't wear gloves on the job, Miss Han? It's just Han, but you already know that. You probably also know they don't really make them in my size. So if we found your fingerprints in here, on those windows, or even upstairs? Aw man, I'd be pretty embarrassed. We almost always get rated 5 stars. So did you need me to walk you out? I'll be fine, thanks. Suit yourself. Just be careful you don't get lost. Sun will be going down soon. It can be hard to find your way back in the dark. Yeah, okay. This idea is starting to look like a pretty safe bet. Your theory that Chopin was assassinated as an attack on the old guard? But how can we confirm it? We still haven't met anyone from the old guard. Though, even if we had, it occurs to me they would be reluctant to speak with Sosuke Ikari's legal team. Don't be so pessimistic. The enemy of my enemy is usually willing to at least talk. And talk is where I do all my best work. Where do we look then? You still got the address boss gave us?